The arrival. The gleaming spires of the Galactic Academy of Sciences pierced the amber sky of Centauri Prime, their crystalline structures refracting the light of twin suns. Amidst the bustle of students from 1,000 worlds, a small figure emerged from the teleportation hub, her eyes wide with wonder and determination. Zhou Chen, barely 12 Earth years old, clutched her datapad tightly as she took in the alien landscape. She was the first human child ever admitted to the academy, a prodigy whose test scores had defied explanation and whose potential had sparked fierce debate among the admissions council. As Zhou stepped onto the hoverpath leading to the main campus, she felt the weight of countless eyes upon her. Creatures of all shapes and sizes paused in their activities to stare at the diminutive human. Some whispered behind tentacles or mandibles, while others made no effort to hide their curiosity or disdain. A towering Arcturian, its blue-tinged exoskeleton gleaming in the sunlight, leaned down to peer at Zhou. "Is this some kind of joke?" it chittered to its companion, a gelatinous nullberry. "They're letting primitives into the academy now." Zhou squared her shoulders and met the Arcturian's compound eyes. "I earned my place here," she said, her voice steady despite the trembling in her hands. "Just like you." The Arcturian recoiled, surprised by her boldness. Before it could respond, a melodious chime echoed across the campus, signaling the start of the orientation session. Zhou seized the opportunity to slip away, following the stream of new students towards the grand auditorium. Inside, the space was a marvel of architecture and technology. The ceiling seemed to stretch into infinity, a holographic display of the known universe spinning lazily overhead. Tiered seating accommodated beings of all physiologies, from the methane-breathing Kovorians to the silicon-based life forms of the lithic Concordat. Zhou found a seat designed for humanoid species, acutely aware of the empty spaces around her as other students gave her a wide berth. She tried to focus on the stage, where a holographic projection of the Academy's emblem, a double helix intertwined with alien script, shimmered in anticipation of the dean's arrival. A hush fell over the auditorium as Dean Exerlith Vos materialized on the stage. The Servitian administrator's 4 arms gestured in a complex greeting, his tentacled head swaying gently as he surveyed the new class. "Welcome, seekers of knowledge, to the Galactic Academy of Sciences," Dean Vos began, his words automatically translated for each student. "You represent the finest minds your respective species have to offer. Here, you will be challenged, tested, and transformed. The universe is vast and full of mysteries, and it is our duty to unravel them." As the dean continued his speech, Zhou noticed a group of faculty members observing from a private box. Among them was a figure that stood out, not for its alien appearance, but for its striking similarity to herself. It was another human, older and distinguished, watching the proceedings with keen interest. The sight filled Zhou with a mixture of relief and trepidation. She wasn't entirely alone here, but the presence of an adult human also met higher expectations. She had to prove that humanity deserved its place among the stars. After the orientation, Zhou made her way to the dormitory complex. The building adjusted its internal structure to accommodate her physiology, walls shifting and furniture morphing to create a habitat suitable for a human child. It was both fascinating and unsettling. As she unpacked her few belongings, a soft chime announced a visitor. The door dissolved, revealing a hovering drone. "Greetings, Student Zhou Chen," the drone chirped. "I am your assigned academic advisor, designation X4701. You may call me X. I am here to provide your class schedule and answer any questions you may have about Academy protocols." Zhou accepted the holographic timetable that X projected. "Thank you, X. I do have one question. Who was the human I saw with the faculty during orientation?" X's visual sensors flickered. "That would be Professor Alexandra Novak, head of the Department of Comparative Xenobiology. She has expressed interest in monitoring your progress at the Academy." Zhou nodded, processing this information. A potential ally, or perhaps another source of pressure. Your first class begins in precisely 47 standard minutes, Ix continued. It is recommended that you familiarize yourself with the campus layout and nutritional facilities before then. Do you require assistance in locating the Xenomathematics lecture hall? Professor Kwan's entire being seemed to vibrate with excitement. Extraordinary. In all my cycles of teaching, I have never seen such an elegant solution proposed so quickly. It seems we have much to learn from our Terran colleagues. The rest of the class stared at Zoe with a mixture of awe, confusion, and in some cases, resentment. She sat down, her cheeks burning, unsure whether to feel proud or terrified of the attention she had drawn. As the day progressed, Zoe's performance in her other classes followed a similar pattern. In quantum biosynthesis, she proposed a novel approach to manipulating subatomic particles for medical applications. During xenolinguistic analysis, she deciphered a supposedly unsolvable ancient text in a matter of minutes. By the time she returned to her dormitory that evening, whispers followed her through the halls. Some students looked at her with newfound respect, others with suspicion. The Arcturian from earlier watched her pass with its mandibles clicked shut, antennae twitching nervously. Zoe collapsed onto her bed, exhaustion and exhilaration warring within her. She had done well, better than she had dared to hope. But as she replayed the day's events in her mind, a nagging worry began to grow. She accessed her datapad, scrolling through the Academy's historical records. Humans were newcomers to the galactic stage, their inclusion in the Academy a relatively recent and controversial development. The more Zoe read, the more she realized that her success today might have far-reaching consequences beyond her personal achievements. A soft chime interrupted her research. It was a message from Professor Alexandra Novak, the human faculty member she had spotted earlier. "Congratulations on an impressive first day, Zoe," the message read. "I would like to meet with you tomorrow to discuss your experiences and potential areas of focus for your studies. There is much we need to talk about regarding your role here at the Academy and what it means for humanity's future among the stars." Zoe stared at the message, a mixture of excitement and apprehension swirling in her gut. She had come to the Galactic Academy of Sciences to learn, to push the boundaries of her extraordinary mind. But now, it seemed, she had become something more. A symbol, a test case, perhaps even a threat to the established order. As she drifted off to sleep, images of alien worlds and mathematical formulas danced behind her eyelids. In her dreams, she stood at the threshold of a vast, uncharted universe, ready to take humanity's first steps into a new era of discovery and understanding. Little did Zoe know that her journey was just beginning, and that the true tests of her abilities and her courage lay ahead in the cosmic tapestry of challenges, alliances, and revelations that awaited her at the Galactic Academy of Sciences. The challenge. The following weeks at the Galactic Academy of Sciences were a whirlwind of discovery and adaptation for Zoe Chen. Each day brought new wonders and obstacles, testing not just her intellect, but her resilience in this alien environment. Zoe's meeting with Professor Novak had been enlightening and somewhat unsettling. The older human had impressed upon her the delicate nature of their position at the Academy. "You're not just a student here, Zoe," Novak had said, her eyes intense. "You're an ambassador for our entire species. Your success or failure could determine humanity's place in the galactic community for generations to come." The weight of that responsibility sat heavily on Zoe's young shoulders, but it also fueled her determination. She threw herself into her studies with renewed vigor, pushing the boundaries of her extraordinary mind in ways she never had before. As the first month of the academic cycle drew to a close, excitement bubbled through the Academy. The annual cognitive trials were approaching, a series of tests designed to challenge the brightest minds from across the galaxy. The trials are more than just an academic exercise, Ix, Zoe's robotic advisor, explained. They are a showcase of species potential, a way for civilizations to demonstrate their cognitive capabilities on a galactic stage. Zoe nodded, understanding the implications. This was her chance to prove that humanity belonged among the stars. The day of the trials arrived, and the Academy's grand arena was transformed into a multi-dimensional puzzle chamber. Holographic interfaces shimmered in the air, ready to present challenges that would push the limits of perception and problem-solving. Competitors from every corner of the known universe gathered, each a prodigy in their own right. Zoe found herself standing next to a quantum hive mind from the Andromeda galaxy, its thoughts visibly rippling through the air, and a silicon-based life form whose crystalline body refracted light in mesmerizing patterns. Dean Exerlith Vos materialized at the center of the arena, his tentacled head swaying as he addressed the assembled competitors and spectators. Esteemed beings of the galaxy, welcome to the 527th Annual Cognitive Trials. The Dean's voice resonated. Today, you will face challenges that will test the very limits of your species' intellectual capabilities. May your minds be sharp and your solutions innovative. With a gesture from the Dean, the first trial began. A complex, multidimensional structure appeared before each competitor, a puzzle that combined elements of quantum mechanics, non-Euclidean geometry, and temporal paradoxes. Zoe's heart raced as she studied the shifting, impossible shape before her. She could hear the frustrated murmurs of her fellow competitors as they grappled with the concept. But in her mind, patterns began to emerge, connections forming at a dizzying speed. Her hands moved almost of their own accord, manipulating the holographic interface with a grace that belied her young age. As she worked, she became aware of a hush falling over the arena. Spectators and competitors alike were turning to watch her progress. In a matter of minutes, a fraction of the allotted time, Zoe's puzzle collapsed into a perfect solution. The holographic display chimed, confirming her success. A ripple of astonishment swept through the crowd. Professor Quan, who was among the judges, vibrated with excitement. Unprecedented, the Thalaxian's thoughts broadcasted. The human child has solved the Hydra conundrum in record time. Zoe barely had time to catch her breath before the next challenge appeared. This one was a test of predictive analytics, requiring competitors to model the evolution of a complex ecosystem over a million-year span. Once again, Zoe's mind raced ahead of the problem. She saw not just the immediate changes but the cascading effects, the subtle interplays of countless variables. Her solution unfolded like a living thing, growing and adapting in real time. As the trials progressed, a pattern emerged. In challenge after challenge, Zoe consistently outperformed her alien competitors. She cracked ciphers that had stumped cryptographers for centuries, proposed solutions to long-standing mathematical paradoxes, and even corrected errors in the fundamental equations governing faster-than-light travel. The atmosphere in the arena grew tense. Some spectators watched Zoe with awe, while others whispered furiously among themselves. Zoe could feel the weight of countless eyes upon her, a mixture of admiration, disbelief, and growing suspicion. During a brief recess, she overheard snippets of conversation that made her blood run cold. "It's impossible," a Arcturian scholar chittered. "No species, let alone a primitive one, could advance this quickly. There must be some kind of deception at play. Perhaps the humans have developed some form of cognitive enhancement technology," a Melberry theorized, its gelatinous form rippling with agitation. Zoe wanted to protest, to explain that her abilities were as much a mystery to her as they were to anyone else. But before she could speak, the final challenge of the trials was announced. The holographic displays merged into a single, massive projection at the center of the arena. What materialized was not a puzzle or an equation, but a swirling, chaotic representation of raw data. The sum total of all information gathered by deep space probes over the past millennium. "Your final task," Dean Vos announced, "is to discern a pattern within this cosmic noise. Find the hidden message that the universe itself is trying to convey." The arena fell silent as competitors turned their full attention to the daunting challenge before them. Zoe stared at the swirling data, feeling momentarily overwhelmed. But then, as it had so many times before, her extraordinary mind began to work in ways she couldn't fully comprehend. She saw beyond the chaos, beyond the seemingly random fluctuations. Patterns emerged, subtle at first, then with increasing clarity. It was more than just data. It was a language, a cosmic communication that transcended traditional forms of intelligence. Zoe's fingers flew over the interface, isolating strands of information, correlating impossibly disparate elements. As she worked, the chaotic swirl began to coalesce, taking on a new form. A gasp ran through the arena as the image stabilized. Floating before Zoe was a three-dimensional map of the galaxy, with a single point pulsing in its outer reaches. It's a beacon, Zoe breathed, her voice carrying in the stunned silence. A signal from a type of intelligence we've never encountered before. They're trying to make contact. The implications of her discovery crashed over the assembled beings like a tidal wave. This wasn't just a victory in an academic competition. It was a revelation that could reshape the galaxy's understanding of life and intelligence. As the trials concluded and the spectators erupted into a frenzy of excitement and debate, Zoe found herself at the eye of the storm. She had not only proven humanity's worth, but had potentially opened the door to a new era of galactic exploration and discovery. But as she looked around at the faces, both alien and human, staring at her with a mixture of awe and unease, Zoe realized that her greatest challenges still lay ahead. She had changed the game, and now she would have to navigate the consequences of her extraordinary abilities in a universe that suddenly seemed both larger and more dangerous than ever before. Professor Novak appeared at her side, her expression a mix of pride and concern. "Well done, Zoe," she said quietly. "But I'm afraid this is only the beginning. Are you ready for what comes next?" Zoe squared her shoulders, feeling the weight of her species' future upon them. "I have to be," she replied, her young voice filled with determination. "For humanity's sake, I have to be." As they left the arena, neither Zoe nor Professor Novak noticed the shadowy figures observing from a hidden alcove, their alien features twisted with a mixture of fear and resolve. The human child had proven to be more than just a curiosity. She was a threat to the established order of the galaxy. And in the darkness between the stars, something ancient and unknowable stirred, awakened by the touch of a young mind that had heard its call across the cosmic void. The conspiracy. In the days following the cognitive trials, the Galactic Academy of Sciences buzzed with an energy that bordered on chaos. Zoe's unprecedented performance had sent shockwaves through the academic community, challenging long-held beliefs about species potential and the nature of intelligence itself. For Zoe, the aftermath of her triumph was a mixed blessing. While some students and faculty members now looked at her with newfound respect and curiosity, others regarded her with suspicion and barely concealed hostility. The isolation she had felt upon her arrival at the academy had, in some ways, intensified. It was during this tumultuous time that Zoe began to notice strange occurrences. Data files she needed for her research would mysteriously corrupt. Her access to certain areas of the Academy's vast information network would be inexplicably revoked. And more than once, she felt the prickle of unseen eyes watching her as she moved through the campus. One evening, as Zoe was working late in one of the Academy's quantum computing labs, she overheard a heated conversation from an adjacent room. Curiosity piqued, she edged closer to the door, her heart racing as she recognized one of the voices as belonging to Drakthor, an influential member of the Academy's governing council. "The human child poses too great a risk," Drakthor's gravelly voice rumbled. "If her abilities continue to develop at this rate, it could upset the balance of power we've maintained for millennia." "But surely we can't just eliminate her," another voice protested weakly. "The diplomatic fallout would be catastrophic." "Of course not," Drakthor replied, a note of dark amusement in his tone. "We're scientists, not barbarians, but there are other ways to ensure that humanity remains properly positioned in the galactic hierarchy." Zoe's blood ran cold. She had suspected that her success might ruffle some feathers, but this sounded like a conspiracy that went far beyond academic jealousy. As she turned to leave, her elbow knocked against a piece of equipment, sending it clattering to the floor. The conversation in the other room abruptly ceased. "Who's there?" Thor's voice boomed. Panic surged through Zoe as she fled the lab, her mind racing. She needed to tell someone, to warn them about what she had overheard. But who could she trust? Her first instinct was to go to Professor Novak, but as she hurried through the winding corridors of the academy, doubt crept in. What if Novak was part of this conspiracy? What if there was no one she could truly rely on? Lost in her troubled thoughts, Zoe didn't notice the shimmer of a cloaking field until it was too late. A strong, alien hand clamped over her mouth, while another wrapped around her waist, lifting her off her feet. "Don't struggle, little one," a voice whispered in her ear. "We're here to help." Zoe's captor carried her swiftly through a series of hidden passages, finally emerging in a small, nondescript room deep within the bowels of the academy. As she was set down, Zoe spun to face her abductor, ready to fight or flee. To her surprise, she found herself facing a familiar figure, Zixifol, a Vexillian student who had been consistently cold towards her since her arrival at the academy. "What's going on?" Zoe demanded, her voice shaking slightly. "Why did you bring me here?" Zixifol's compound eyes shifted nervously. "Because we need your help, human, and because your life is in danger." Over the next hour, Zixifol revealed a truth that shook Zoe to her core. There was indeed a conspiracy within the highest levels of the Galactic Academy, one that had been manipulating the development and integration of younger species for centuries. "They call themselves the Guardians of Galactic Order," Zixifol explained. "They believe that rapid advancement of newer species threatens the stability of the galaxy. They've been subtly hindering the progress of countless civilizations, Earth included." "But why?" Zoe asked, struggling to process this information. "Isn't the point of the Academy to foster growth and understanding between species?" Zixifol's antenna drooped. "That's what we all believed. But for some, power and control are more important than progress. Your performance in the cognitive trials, it scared them. You forced them to accelerate their plans." As Zixifol continued to explain, Zoe learned of a small but growing resistance movement within the academy. Students and faculty from various species who had discovered the truth and were working to expose the conspiracy. "We've been watching you since you arrived," Zixifol admitted. "At first, we thought you might be a plant, a genetically engineered superweapon sent by Earth to infiltrate the academy. But now we realize you're something else entirely. A genuine prodigy whose abilities could be the key to unraveling this whole corrupt system." Zoe's mind raced, connecting dots she hadn't even realized were there. The strange gaps in Earth's technological development, the seemingly arbitrary restrictions on human expansion into space, it all started to make a terrible kind of sense. "What do you need me to do?" she asked, a fierce determination replacing her earlier fear. Zixifol produced a small, crystalline data drive. "This contains evidence of the Guardian's activities, but it's encrypted in ways even our best minds haven't been able to crack. We believe that with your unique cognitive abilities, you might be able to decipher it." Zoe took the drive, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her young shoulders. "I'll do my best," she promised. As she began to work on decrypting the drive, Zoe realized that her entire worldview had shifted. She had come to the Galactic Academy of Sciences to learn, to prove humanity's worth among the stars. Now she found herself at the center of a conflict that could reshape the future of not just her species, but countless others throughout the galaxy. The encryption on the drive was like nothing Zoe had ever encountered before. It seemed to shift and adapt as she worked, almost as if it were alive. But with each passing moment, her extraordinary mind found new patterns, new approaches. Hours blended into days as Zoe worked tirelessly, sleeping only when exhaustion overtook her. The resistance members took turns guarding her, bringing her food and keeping watch for any sign that their hideout had been discovered. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the last piece of the puzzle fell into place. The drive's contents spilled forth, revealing a trove of information that was both illuminating and horrifying. Detailed plans for sabotaging promising research, falsified data used to justify holding back certain species, even records of arranged accidents to eliminate individuals who had come too close to the truth. It was all there. But among the damning evidence, Zoe found something else, something that made her blood run cold. There, buried deep in the files, was a reference to the signal she had discovered during the cognitive trials, the beacon from an unknown intelligence at the edge of the galaxy. The Guardians knew about it, and they were planning to destroy it. As the full implications of her discovery sank in, Zoe realized that the conspiracy ran deeper and reached further than anyone had imagined. This wasn't just about controlling the advancement of individual species. It was about maintaining a stranglehold on the very nature of galactic civilization itself. With trembling hands, Zoe turned to Zexivol and the other resistance members who had gathered around her. "We need to act," she said, her young voice filled with a determination that belied her years. "And we need to act now. The fate of every sentient being in the galaxy depends on it." As the resistance began to formulate a plan, Zoe couldn't help but feel a mix of terror and exhilaration. She had come to the stars seeking knowledge and acceptance. Instead, she had found a battle for the very soul of galactic society, a battle in which she, a young human girl, might just be the deciding factor. The next phase of her journey was about to begin, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The future of humanity, of countless alien species, and of a mysterious intelligence reaching out across the cosmic void. It all rested on what Zoe Chen would do next. The Alliance. The revelation of the Guardians' true nature and the scope of their conspiracy had shaken Zoe to her core. But as the initial shock wore off, a steely determination took its place. She knew that exposing the truth wouldn't be enough. They needed a plan to dismantle the Guardians' power structure and protect the mysterious beacon at the edge of the galaxy. "We can't do this alone," Zoe said, addressing the small group of resistance members. "We need allies, and we need them fast." Zexivol nodded, his compound eyes reflecting the dim light of their hidden base. "You're right, but we must be careful. The Guardians have eyes and ears everywhere." Over the next few days, Zoe and the Resistance worked tirelessly to identify potential allies within the Academy. They needed a diverse group, beings with different skills, connections, and perspectives who could help them navigate the complex web of galactic politics. Their first recruit was Professor Quan, the Thalaxian polymath who had been so impressed by Zoe's performance in the cognitive trials. When presented with the evidence, Quan's external neurons pulsed with a mixture of shock and outrage. To think that the pursuit of knowledge could be so corrupted, Quan's thoughts rippled. "I will stand with you, young human. The truth must prevail." Next came Ulzora, a quantum hive mind from Andromeda. Its ability to process vast amounts of information simultaneously would be crucial in coordinating their efforts across the sprawling Academy campus. But perhaps their most surprising ally came in the form of Corax, an Arcturian student who had once been one of Zoe's harshest critics. When confronted with the truth, Corax's mandibles clicked in agitation. I was wrong about you, human," Corax chittered. "And I was wrong about so much else. Let me help you make this right." As their alliance grew, so did their plan. They would need to act on multiple fronts simultaneously, exposing the Guardians to the broader Academy community, protecting the beacon, and dismantling the systems of control that had been put in place over centuries. Zoe found herself at the center of it all, her unique cognitive abilities allowing her to see connections and possibilities that others missed. But the pressure was immense, and there were moments when the weight of it all threatened to crush her. It was during one such moment of doubt that Professor Alexandra Novak found her. Zoe had been wary of approaching her mentor, unsure of where Novak's loyalties truly lay. But as the professor entered their hidden base, the look of fierce determination on her face told Zoe everything she needed to know. "I suspected something was wrong for years," Novak said, her voice tight with emotion. "But I never imagined. Zoe, I'm so sorry you've had to bear this burden alone." Zoe felt a wave of relief wash over her. "I'm just glad you're here now," she said, fighting back tears. "We need all the help we can get." With Novik's support, their plan began to take shape. They would use the Academy's own systems against the Guardians, broadcasting the evidence of their conspiracy across every communication channel. At the same time, a team led by Lazora would work to protect the beacon, using the quantum hive mind's vast processing power to shield it from the Guardians' attempts to destroy it. But they knew the Guardians wouldn't go down without a fight. They needed a distraction, something big enough to throw the entire Academy into chaos and give them the opening they needed. That's when Zoe had an idea. A crazy, dangerous, brilliant idea. "The cognitive enhancer," she said, her eyes shining with excitement. "The device they use for the trials. What if we could reprogram it to temporarily boost the cognitive abilities of every being in the Academy?" The implications were staggering. For a brief window, every student and faculty member would experience a surge in intelligence and perception. The Guardians' carefully constructed lies would crumble in the face of this collective enlightenment. "It's risky," Quan's thoughts pulsed. "The mental strain could be dangerous, and reprogramming the enhancer won't be easy." "That's where I come in," Zoe said, a hint of a smile playing on her lips. "If I can interface directly with the enhancer, I think I can make it work." The plan was set. In 3 days' time, during the Academy's annual Unity ceremony, they would make their move. As the Guardians gathered to perpetuate their lies about galactic harmony, Zoe and her allies would reveal the truth and offer the entire Academy a glimpse of what true unity could look like. As the day approached, Zoe felt a mixture of terror and exhilaration. She had come to the Galactic Academy of Sciences seeking knowledge and acceptance. Instead, she had found a battle for the very soul of galactic civilization, a battle in which she, a young human girl, had become a key player. The night before the ceremony, as the Alliance made their final preparations, Zoe took a moment to stand by a window overlooking the Academy grounds. The twin moons of Centauri Prime cast a soft glow over the crystalline spires and winding paths. She thought of Earth, so far away, and of all the other worlds whose futures hung in the balance. The weight of responsibility was enormous, but Zoe knew she wasn't alone. She had found true allies here among the stars, beings who valued truth, justice, and the pursuit of knowledge above all else. As she turned back to join her friends, Zoe felt a surge of determination. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever dangers they would face, she was ready. Together, they would fight for a future where every species, every world, had the chance to reach its full potential. The countdown to the Unity ceremony had begun. In less than 12 hours, the fate of the galaxy would be decided. And Zoe Chen, the human girl who had astonished the stars, would be at the heart of it all. The triumph. The day of the Unity ceremony arrived, bringing with it a tension that seemed to permeate every molecule of air in the Galactic Academy of Sciences. Zoe and her allies moved through the preparations with a mix of determination and barely contained anxiety. Everything they had worked for, everything they had discovered, would come down to the events of the next few hours. As students and faculty from across the galaxy gathered in the Grand Amphitheater, Zoe made her way to the hidden chamber that housed the cognitive enhancer. Professor Quan and Lazora accompanied her, their unique abilities essential to the plan's success. "Remember," Quan's thoughts pulsed, "once you interface with the enhancer, you'll only have a few minutes before the strain becomes too much. We'll need to time this perfectly." Zoe nodded, her heart racing. "I'm ready," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. As they worked to reconfigure the enhancer, the ceremony began above them. They could hear the muffled voice of Dean Exerlith Vos extolling the virtues of galactic unity and cooperation, words that now rang hollow in light of what they knew. Suddenly, alarms blared through the complex. "They've discovered us." Lazora's multifaceted voice rang out. "The Guardians are making their move." Zoe's hands flew over the enhancer's controls, her mind working at speeds that seemed impossible even for her. "We're not ready yet," she said through gritted teeth. "We need more time." Above them, chaos erupted in the amphitheater. The Guardians, realizing their conspiracy was about to be exposed, had decided to take drastic action. Drakthor's voice boomed over the commotion, calling for the immediate arrest of dangerous seditionists who threatened the stability of the galaxy. In the hidden chamber, Zoe felt a surge of panic. Everything was falling apart. But then, as she looked at the enhancer, a new possibility dawned on her. "Change of plans," she announced. "I'm going to interface with the enhancer directly, channel its power through me." "Zoe, no." Professor Novik's voice crackled over their communicators. "The risk is too great. Your mind might not be able to handle it." But Zoe had already made her decision. With a nod to Quan and Ulzora, she placed her hands on the enhancer's primary interface. Instantly, she felt a rush of energy unlike anything she had ever experienced. Her consciousness expanded, connecting with every mind in the academy simultaneously. In that moment, Zoe Chen became a conduit for truth, her thoughts and memories, and the evidence they had gathered, flowing into the minds of everyone present. The amphitheater fell silent as the truth washed over the assembled beings. Centuries of lies and manipulation were laid bare, along with the Guardians' plans to destroy the mysterious beacon. But Zoe didn't stop there. With her enhanced cognitive abilities, she reached out further, tapping into the beacon itself. And in that moment of connection, she understood. The signal wasn't just a message, it was an invitation. An ancient, unimaginably advanced civilization was reaching out, offering to share knowledge that could transform life throughout the galaxy. The Guardians, in their fear and desire for control, had been ready to destroy this opportunity for all sentient beings. As Zoe conveyed this revelation to the stunned audience, she felt her strength beginning to fade. The strain of channeling so much information was taking its toll. But her allies were there to support her. Professor Novik's steady presence, Quan's brilliant mind, Lazora's vast processing power, HFY's unwavering loyalty, and Korax's newfound determination. All of them lent Zoe their strength. In the amphitheater, the shock of revelation gave way to anger, then to a fierce resolve. Students and faculty alike turned on the Guardians, their unity now forged in truth rather than lies. Drakthor and his conspirators found themselves surrounded, their power crumbling in the face of the very unity they had claimed to protect. As the last of the Guardians were detained, Zoe finally released her connection to the enhancer. She collapsed into Professor Novik's arms, exhausted but triumphant. In the days that followed, the Galactic Academy of Sciences underwent a profound transformation. The old power structures were dismantled, replaced by a truly representative council that included members from all species, including humanity. Zoe, once an outsider, found herself at the center of a new era of galactic cooperation. Her unique abilities and unwavering courage had not only saved the Academy, but had opened the door to a future filled with unimaginable possibilities. As she stood with her friends, human and alien alike, looking out at the stars, Zoe felt a sense of wonder and purpose that dwarfed even her initial dreams of studying among the cosmos. "What do we do now?" Zuxuval asked, his antennae quivering with excitement. Zoe smiled, her eyes shining with the light of distant suns. "Now," she said, "we answer the invitation. Together, we'll meet this ancient civilization and see what wonders the universe truly holds." Professor Novik placed a hand on Zoe's shoulder. "You've done more than prove humanity's worth, Zoe. You've shown the entire galaxy what we can achieve when we work together." As they turned their gaze to the stars, each lost in thoughts of the adventures to come, Zoe felt a profound sense of belonging. She had found her place in the universe, not just as a human, but as part of something far greater, a galactic community united in the pursuit of knowledge and understanding. The beacon pulsed steadily at the edge of known space, a promise of new beginnings. And Zoe Chen, The girl who had astonished the stars stood ready to lead the way into a brighter future for all. Epilogue. In the years that followed the events at the Galactic Academy of Sciences, the ripples of change spread across the cosmos. The revelation of the Guardians' conspiracy and the discovery of the ancient civilization's beacon ushered in a new era of galactic cooperation and advancement. Zhou Chen, once a curious young girl from Earth, became a symbol of unity and progress throughout the known universe. Her unique cognitive abilities. Zhou Chen, once a curious young girl from Earth, became a symbol of unity and progress throughout the known universe. Her unique cognitive abilities, combined with her unwavering commitment to truth and cooperation, made her an invaluable asset in the galaxy's ongoing evolution. The Galactic Academy of Sciences, now free from the shadowy influence of the Guardians, flourished as a true bastion of knowledge and innovation. Species that had once been held back now contributed groundbreaking discoveries, leading to advancements in technology, medicine, and understanding of the universe that would have been unimaginable just a few years earlier. The alliance that Zhou had forged during the crisis became the foundation for a new interstellar governing body. Professor Novak, Quan, Lozora, Dixavol, and Korax each played crucial roles in shaping this new galactic order, ensuring that the mistakes of the past would not be repeated. As for the mysterious beacon, a joint expedition was launched to make contact with the ancient civilization. Zhou, naturally, was at the forefront of this mission. The knowledge and insights gained from this encounter would go on to reshape life throughout the galaxy in profound and wondrous ways. Earth, once considered a backwater planet, became a respected member of the galactic community. Humanity's potential, no longer artificially suppressed, blossomed in ways that amazed even the most optimistic observers. Years later, as Zhou stood on the observation deck of an advanced starship, gazing out at a vista of swirling nebulae and newborn stars, she reflected on the incredible journey that had brought her to this point. From a young girl with extraordinary abilities to a key figure in galactic history, her path had been anything but ordinary. But as she turned to join her diverse crew, a harmonious mix of species from across the cosmos, Zhou knew that the greatest adventures still lay ahead. The universe was vast and full of mysteries, and together they would explore its wonders, united in their quest for knowledge and understanding. The stars no longer seemed distant or unreachable. They were a promise, a challenge, and a reminder of how far they had come, and how far they still had to go. As the ship's engines hummed to life, preparing to jump to yet another unexplored sector of space, Zhou Chen smiled. The girl who had once astonished the stars now sailed among them, leading the way into a future bright with possibility.